Right now at noon, new details about the suspect accused of starting the most destructive fire in Washington state history. What officials say they found when they arrested him.
And another day with poor air quality up and down the I-5 corridor. We have some good news in the forecast, but we still have one more really smoky afternoon and evening to get through.
And Portland City Council hears public testimony on the proposal to use taxpayer dollars to renovate the Moda Center. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Blair Best. Our top story here at noon: as dozens of wildfires burn across the Pacific Northwest, smoke is causing air quality to plummet throughout the region. Here is a live look from our Rose City Skycam. One study ranking Portland as having the worst air quality in the world. Let's get right to Chris McGinnis in the Weather Center. And Chris, it certainly looks pretty bad out there, but there is some good news on the horizon.
Yeah, it's going to take another 24 hours before we see really big improvements. And that said, today is another day where you need to limit your exposure. And if you are outside, I think all of us would be well advised to consider wearing an N95 mask. Okay, so this is what we're looking at right now. 76 degrees from the Springs to the waterfront. Once again, everything that you see there is not cloud cover, but wildfire smoke, primarily from the Grasshopper fire burning in the Mount Hood National Forest on the east slopes of Mount Hood right there. This is our visible satellite imagery. One thing you can see here is that part of that smoke plume has been actually shunted off to the east today, but we're still kind of on the periphery of this. And so Clark County, Skamania County, Multnomah County, and up and down the I-5 corridor, still a very smoky, hazy sky out there again today. And the air quality, little change from yesterday afternoon. We have some orange dots and some red dots. What that represents is either unhealthy for some or it's just unhealthy, period. And in fact, right there in Hood River County, there's a dot showing up that indicates very unhealthy air. And so with conditions like this, again, most people would be well advised to limit activity outside. And if you do spend time outside, wear an N95 mask. And again, healthcare professionals will reiterate the regular cloth surgical mask isn't good enough to filter out that particulate. It's got to be an N95. So just be aware of that if you are going outside. The weather impact alert continues for today for the wildfire smoke, and you can plainly see that here on our Rose City Sky camera. One thing the smoke is doing is keeping our temperatures down a little bit from where we could be. It's only 76 degrees at lunchtime. So once again, the temperature forecast today is tricky due to the thickness of that wildfire smoke. I've got us getting to about 92 degrees this afternoon. In areas that see that smoke thin, we could get a little hotter than that. But the point is it's going to be another warm afternoon before things clear out. We've got to look at that forecast coming up in just a bit. Blair?
Okay, Chris, we'll see you soon. Well, the fire burning closest to Portland right now is the Grasshopper fire. Since it started on July 23rd, it's burned 34,000 acres and is 19% contained, triggering new evacuations. It is burning dangerously close to the ski resort on the southeast side of Mount Hood. The team up there set up sprinklers to spray water on several buildings and fuel pumps. And they even put snow machines near propane tanks.
It's close enough where we've had all kinds of fire personnel here evaluating the buildings, coming up with their plans, and getting set if they have to fight the fire here at the resort.
Okay, now as for those evacuation orders, Elk Mountain is under level 3, go now. White River and Cooper Spur South are under level 2 orders, and Mount Hood corridor from Rhododendron east through Government Camp is under level 1, be ready. Turning now to the wildfires burning in Spokane, Washington. Fire officials estimate the 3 fires making up what's being called the Spokane Complex Fire have burned more than 10,000 acres. And as of this afternoon, firefighters are making some gains on containing the blaze. Roughly 65,000 people have been forced to evacuate. More than 700 buildings or structures have been destroyed. Meanwhile, the suspect accused of starting the largest of the Spokane fire, the Old Creek fire, is behind bars on arson charges. Christian Balderas has the latest.
Investigators believe 37-year-old Aaron Fernacci is responsible for starting the Old Trails fire, the most destructive in Washington state history. Now he's been charged with first-degree arson after investigators say a witness spotted him near the fire's origin minutes before smoke appeared. This is video of the fire shortly after it sparked. Investigators say 3 witnesses identified Fernacci as the man they saw acting suspiciously near the railroad tracks. One witness told investigators he first saw Fernacci standing near the tree line, then later bent over near a fence in dry vegetation. Court documents say deputies contacted Fernacci more than a mile from the fire. They found a butane lighter and heavy-duty waterproof matches in his possession, but released him as crews focused on evacuations. The next day, fire investigators determined the fire started in the same area where witnesses reported seeing Fernacci.
Well, when he saw us, he kind of stood up and kind of turned and faced us and got a little fidgety. I kind of, you kind of second guess yourself. It's kind of like, well, what if I stopped and say, hey, what are you doing? Could this possibly have been prevented? So I kind of beat myself a little bit up about that.
Investigators ruled out trains and electrical equipment and say the fire was started by an open flame used to ignite dry vegetation. And Fernacci's bail has been set at $1 million. Investigators have not linked him to the 2 other major wildfires burning in the Spokane area.
Okay, and Fernacci is expected to be formally arraigned tomorrow. In an update, President Trump has now approved federal emergency assistance for Washington state. This will help pay for firefighting efforts and allow FEMA to send personnel, equipment, and other resources where they're needed the most. The assistance covers 6 counties and 3 tribal nations. And with the resources stretched thin and a growing need, we have activated our Northwest Response Fund. You can donate by scanning the QR code that's on your screen, and your donations go directly to the Red Cross to help those impacted by wildfires in eastern Washington and throughout Oregon. So if you want to donate in person, you can just visit any local U.S. bank branch. Gresham police are asking for your help finding this missing 78-year-old. They say Glenn Glaspie was last seen leaving a medical appointment yesterday afternoon near South Bond Avenue and South Whitaker Street. He is 5'6" with medium hair length that he usually wears in a ponytail. So if you see him, call 911. Okay, happening right now, Portland City Council is hearing public testimony on a proposed term sheet for a Moda Center renovation plan. It includes a $120 million city investment. It's a process we have been following closely, though today's meeting is not a vote on a final lease. It's still a major milestone as the city inches closer to a plan for the arena. Okay, Corey Johnson is here. Corey, you've been sitting in this meeting all day, so bring us up to speed. How's it been going?
Yeah, good afternoon, Blair. That's right. That meeting room absolutely packed this afternoon with residents and other community leaders. Several people who have already spoken have described the decision that city councilors will make as one that will shape the next chapter of Portland to come. And they say the conversation is about much more than just the arena. They say it's about jobs, shared community experience, national visibility, and much more. And the proposed plan calls for a $573 million public funded renovation of the city-owned arena, which officials say at more than 3 decades old needs major upgrades. We are Rip City Coalition, the president of the Portland Fire, Claire Hamill, and several other groups and community members spoke at today's meeting. Even a counselor from Gresham City Council spoke, saying the Moda Center's success is the region's success. Visitors spent $5.5 billion last year alone when it came to the Moda Center. That's according to a spokesperson from Travel Portland, who also testified. So lots of testimonies this afternoon, and a common theme among those during the public comment was this: make the investment in the renovation and fund the Moda Center. But not everyone agreed. Some testified that council needs to take more time to consider a term sheet that makes sense for Portland as a whole. Others sounded their frustration, saying they believe Tom Dundon is ripping off Portlanders, and these renovation costs are his to shoulder.
The Moda Center is more than an arena. It's where memories are made for us, for my son, where dreams begin for businesses, because we support and have support thousands of businesses. And if you want to know, go there and check it out.
I strongly suggest that we take more time to figure out a term sheet that works for Portland. Every dollar that we spend needs to come back into the coffers of Portland City. We do not have funds available.
Now keep in mind the current Moda Center lease is set to expire in 2030. Once testimony wraps up today, the council is set to return yet again tomorrow. They're going to discuss what they heard during today's public comment, as well as any proposed amendments to the proposal at hand. A final vote on the new proposal, that's set for next week. Blair?
Okay, Corey, the debate continues. Thanks so much. And in an update, Chauncey Billups is now scheduled to go to trial later this year in the federal rigged poker games case. Prosecutors accuse Billups and other high-profile defendants of using illegal gambling operations to profit from high-stakes games that they say involve cheating devices and the mafia. Billups is accused of wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy. He's pleaded not guilty and is one of the few defendants who has not accepted a plea. Jury selection is set to begin November 30th.